Morgan Culhane brings you the student perspective on class registration.
One of the most stressful times for students is underway, class registration. On March 31st, current juniors began to register for the fall 2012 semester. This past weekend, current sophomores registered, and this coming Saturday, the current freshmen will register. A lot of students at Canisius have complained about problems with the registration process. We're here at the library to hear those opinions and what they think we can do differently.
I've always loathed the registration process at Canisius. A, because I'm an adult and I can get my PIN number on my own rather than having to go see my advisor for it, which takes time out of my day and also frustrates me because the advisors half the time don't get back to you right away.
Personally, I thought it was terrible. Last semester, it took me 6 hours to register, and it was only for 3 classes that I was able to register for. So, yeah, it was stressful.
The system crashed, too, for I'm pretty sure every single year when they registered, so that's a huge problem that needs to be addressed.
How do you feel about the registration process here at Canisius?
It is very poor, I'd have to say. Last semester I got shut out of 2 classes because the whole system went down. And it's kind of like a weird thing, like the quicker you put in your PIN, like the faster you get into classes, but you have like a 10-second time frame whenever you can log in to actually do it.
I think it's a little messy. I think that it could be improved, definitely. It's like a lot of jam when it's through the systems. I personally had a difficult time trying to register this year. I couldn't even get my own CRN numbers through the student services. I had to call student records so they could help me out, and I heard a lot of other people had problems trying to register as well.
How do you feel about the registration process here at Canisius?
It's a little confusing. Sometimes it always doesn't work out when you're trying to get into your classes. The system can crash, or you have problems with forced registration.
Have you experienced any of these problems?
Yes, I had a little bit of difficulty getting into Chemistry 111, but I ended up working it all out.
When you're a freshman, I guess you have to register like right away or you'll miss out. When you're a senior, it's not really that big of a deal because there's more opportunities to register.
As an undergraduate, I thought it was really annoying because once you tried to do it, the system would like freeze if you lived on campus. But as a grad student, it's easy because you can just do it whenever you want to, as long as you don't have any holds on it. And you don't have to track anybody down for a PIN either, which I think is really childish.
I really think that the whole process kind of takes the adult out of college. I think that every student here is capable and willing to do it on their own, and the university or college should just send us our PINs on our own.
Now that you've heard students' issues with the registration process, let's see what they think can be done to improve the system.
I think that they should just make the capacity for the classes larger instead of having to force everybody in it, to be completely honest. I think it would be easier for everyone.
We could do different time slots for different levels maybe, so there's not as many people trying to get on the system as possible.
If the system's not crash, that would be a good thing. I don't know, like Tara said, I think like having more like room, or like have the teachers maybe have the capacity, if they really want the capacity to be 25, have it be 20, and then like have people be forced in kind of thing, because then the teachers get like mad when they have kids forced in, and like, or they don't want them to, but if you have to take a class, you really have to take a class.
They absolutely need to keep like the freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, like that the same, because seniors should have first choice on what classes they want to get into. But I think getting rid of the PIN system would just make things a lot easier. Just being able to, just as long as you don't have any holds on your account, just go online when you're supposed to and register.
There could probably be a few things that could be done, like to make it a little less confusing and make it a little easier for students to get into all their necessary classes and complete their course requirements. But for now, it's not too bad.
I think it's designed the way it's designed because they want to ensure that the seniors are able to get the classes that they want. And so I guess going through all the 4 years, it is fair because, you need classes as a senior that you may not necessarily be able to take as a freshman. So I realize it's probably frustrating for freshmen, but I don't know if I would change it, just because I think once you go through the whole entire cycle, you realize, well, it benefits you in the end.
Now that you've heard what the Canisius students have to say, now it's up to Canisius administration to fix this problem. I'm Morgan Colhane for Canisius Chronicles.
We're joined now by Professor Rob Kaiser, a student advisor who will explain his experience advising students. Hi, Rob.
Hi, Nick.
When you first started working at Canisius last year, how long was it before they made you an advisor?
It was about a semester.
How many students did they put you in charge of?
Initially about 10 or 12.
Now, your first time working with the process, what was your impression of it?
It seems well organized. You know, it takes a little getting used to all the portals and the different access points. I think they've tried to simplify that a little bit and make it a little more so that you access several things through the same kind of portal. So it's a little bit simpler this time, I think.
As an advisor, did students ever complain directly to you about the process?
I've really not received too many complaints about the process. I think that my guess is that if students have those complaints, they generally address those to someone else.
Now let's talk about registration from an advisor standpoint. What are you looking for out of your students when they come to you?
Out of my advisees?
Yes.
Well, the students that I advise who are in the journalism major, I try to make sure if they're underclassmen, if they're freshmen or sophomores, that they're making sure that they're addressing all their core curriculum needs and getting those done and getting off to the right start in the major. We have the major curriculum structured so that there are certain gateway courses that students have to sort of progress through, and then there's a certain order by which they work their way through the curriculum, and it works better that way. One of the challenges that we've had is that the major being fairly new is we have students who have kind of come into the major from all different directions. We have seniors and juniors who need to kind of go back and take some of the gateway courses. We have freshmen taking those gateway courses, and so we've kind of had to make some allowances with prerequisites and co-requisites and things like that to make sure that it all works for everyone.
Now, what does the student, do they need to show you that they're ready to go, or what does it need from your point before you just give out a PIN number?
Well, I want to see that they have kind of thought it through, first of all. I like to know that whatever they're taking, especially with regard to the core curriculum, and once they get to that point in the journalism curriculum where they can kind of choose a direction, I want to make sure that they're doing something that they're interested in and that they're going to be emotionally invested in. And so I like it when they come to the advising session with a good idea of what they want to take, and they've already kind of looked through the courses and the curriculum and come up with a plan of their own. And then at that point, I think my job as the advisor is just to make sure that it's on track.
Okay. If there's any one change you could make to the system, what would it be?
Well, there are some, it gets kind of complicated when you're talking about dual majors. We seem to have a lot of dual majors, especially in the communication and journalism and digital media arts programs. And when you're advising someone who's a dual major and maybe have a minor in addition to those, and then the core curriculum is another consideration. It's a lot of moving parts to keep track of, and I've not yet found a real efficient way, at least from my perspective, to sort of make all that work in a sort of economical way without looking at a number of different things. So I think, you know, maybe that's a consideration. But I think it's a good thing that we have that many dual majors. So.
Hey, thanks, Rob. You got any class you want to throw a plug for real quick?
Any class I want to throw a plug for? Any journalism class.
Any journalism class.
Yeah, we've got some good ones coming up. Professor Shanks and I are both have some good things coming up in the fall. So yeah, look for them.
Okay, thanks, Rob.
All right, thanks, Nick.
Here's Dave Goodwin reporting on how registration works at other schools.
We know registration is a problem here at Canisius, but how is it at other schools? Here's more on the story. Registration is a hot topic debate amongst Canisius College students, but state schools like UB, Buff State, and Geneseo also face similar problems. Here are what students had to say.
Well, first you have to schedule your classes. We have the Hub site, and you just look at courses you're interested in, like subjects like eco or math or philosophy, and then you look at classes that are available, and it gives you the times and the days and the teachers, and then you just try to find the classes you want and fit them together so they don't interfere. Yeah, the registration day is very hectic because, like, our new website, we have Hub, it just started this year and it's kind of glitchy and it messes up, and sometimes you can't register for classes because it says you don't have the right things. You don't have the right prerequisites, but you do, and so it's glitchy and you have to go to the honors office and fix it, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes you have holes in your account that shouldn't be there.
Yeah, freshmen, because they're the last to register, you have to wake up like right when it says you can start registering, or else you won't get your classes. Well, if you're a computer information systems major at Buff State, you don't have advisors, so you have to pretty much make your own schedule without an advisor. But other than that, you just go on our, it's called Degree Navigator, and search for the classes, and then you just go on our other website called Banner and type in the course reference number and make your own schedule.
For people who don't have many credits, or just classes have already filled up, when they register, they'll put in their CRN numbers and it'll just say this is filled, or many different things. I have a lot of friends who, when they registered, they didn't get any of their classes and they ended up with like 3 credits or 6 credits when they finished registering, and they'd have to wait for months to talk to professors, to talk to departments, and to wait for classes to open up before they could complete their schedule. It's pretty terrible. A lot of people have complaints about it because registration is just it's hectic, and everybody's rushing at the same time, and a lot of times the server crashes.
Yeah, classes fill up really quick, and sometimes teachers won't let you, sometimes they let a couple extra kids in, but a lot of times they don't.
What about Canisius rival Niagara University? According to Emily Locke, a junior at the school, registration isn't much different than Canisius. Students wake up at 9:30 to pick their classes on a sometimes faulty website. She says, "The first time I registered last semester, I went and clicked my classes, but nothing happened, so I had to redo the whole thing. But I actually registered today and had no problems. I'd never had a problem not getting into classes. However, my roommate has, but she got into the class, but just at a different time." Are Ivy League schools in the same boat as Canisius when it comes to registration? No. Perhaps the most unique situation is at Brown University. Students are given a shopping cart on their website in which they can pick classes that they want to take. Unlike Canisius, Brown is an open curriculum to inspire interest in the students. Many of the classes are uncapped, so as many students as possible can join. Derek Widener, a freshman, says, "Because we have no gen eds and are encouraged to explore other stuff, we are given a 2-week shopping period where we shop all the classes we registered for, plus any additional ones we want to try out. Then you have 2 weeks where you can try classes out. You can add and drop them on Banner at will with no cost." Taking classes such as Intro to Astronomy, Human Development, and a seminar called Alien Worlds, Derek says, "Yes, Brown students are generally happy with registration, even though shopping period can be stressful and the 2,000+ course catalog can be overwhelming." Here are some student suggestions for improvement in the registration process.
I would make a Hub a more accessible, intuitive site. Our website, more intuitive.
If they kind of reserved, a few spots here, a few spots there for every registration period, it might not be as bad as it is, and a lot of people would feel less pressured to rush to get their classes.
As we can see, Canisius is not the only school with registration problems. We will see what will happen in the future, but for now, I'm Dave Goodwin reporting from Canisius Chronicles.
Good stuff, Dave. That's all for us today. Best of luck with registration this weekend, Canisius. You might need it. Thanks, guys.